music there in case it's like, oh, this is horrible. You could easily shift and just listen. But it's like, if you're going to a concert or something, like, then we're just two strangers awkwardly standing next to each other. And then we leave and don't know each other.
Dial the music back as a character in this scene as little as possible. I used to, back in the day, we're old enough to remember, there was a Virgin.
He's pointing to me.
Virgin Mega Store. I'm pointing to Brad for sure. The Virgin Mega Stores. Remember those? There was one in Times Square.
Yes.
Where it was just records, whatever. Uh-huh. And I lived for a decade, like a block from Times Square. And what I would like to do is I would go over and they had the headphones there before we were all germaphobes, and you could just try different. Hit the buttons and listen to different music. And I did that once on a date, and I thought it was awesome. And she was like, come listen to this and listen to that. And it was like exploring a record store, and there was music playing. It was a really, really fun thing, mostly because it showed me personality.
Yeah.
And you shared that personality, and the music was sort of a window to what they liked and didn't like and how much fun we had. It was a cheap date, but it was a really good time. And so that was something that was like an activity that involved the music, not the music needs to overwhelm the activity.
I agree.
I think Caroline, if she's so stuck on the music, she should go and get a job in a record store or go and take music classes and meet other people who are obsessive about music.
Right.
Because it doesn't sound like she's going to let go of that. That's how she defines herself.
She needs to figure out why she needs the music.
Well, again, I have a great therapist. Mm-hmm. Call me. It sounds like all these people who are writing in have some issues.
Yeah, that's not the worst issue to have.
No, it's fine.
It's just like if you always need music playing, some people got to do certain things to sleep. I get it, but I wouldn't rule out the guy just because he's like, no, I don't want to go to a concert. Let's go here. And if there happens to be a piano player, that's lower the background music a little bit. And I think that's fine.
And people do go on dates because they are looking for someone to sleep with, either short term or long term. But if that's what she's so afraid of, then then just get friends that like music.
I guessed it on a podcast once that they played music in the background the whole time, and they're like, oh, it's like being in a bar. I'm like, it's so fucking distracting. Like, what are we doing here? And they just had like a DJ playing, and I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, this can...
I'm like, can we just focus? I was like, oh, they liked it. I didn't. Oh, well, what do I know? All right, next one. This is from Lee in Chicago.
Love that.
Here is not necessarily the activity, but the action I want to do on a first date. And it does work great, even though it's risky. I bring a list of questions that are far more serious than you would think I should ask, but they usually bring laughter and fun, and Brian, I know that is the fastest way to break down walls. Before we have dinner or even have our drink, I tell her there are a few things I need to know. I start with, what should we name our first kid? Then I move to things like, would you take my last name, hyphen it, or keep your own? Where should we go on our honeymoon? Where should we buy our second home? Risky strategy, sure. Sometimes it blows up, but the ones who are game, we have so much fun with it. I know you are proponents of playful and hopeful, and this game is absolutely those two things. Just wanted to share it. It doesn't always work perfectly, but when it does, it's great. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's a little bit of, she's like, is he serious? And don't act like, ladies, that you're not writing out to see what your name looks like with Howie next to it, because you are. And a lot of girls do that. And what would our names sound like together? So he's just, and she has to be like, is he serious? It's a little impish. There's no way he's serious, right? Mm-hmm. Or where you're like, there's a chance he's serious.
I don't think he's serious.
I feel like definitely the way he worded that, I don't think he's serious. But I think on a first date, if I'm trying to figure out anything about this guy, and the first question is like, what do we name our first kid? I'm going to be like, oh my God, I think my goldfish died. I have to leave. Like,
what if I said, I bet you didn't think you'd like me this much, did you?
I feel like that, like I would probably laugh, but I don't know if it would be like a, okay.
Right, I agree. It's very risky. But the one who rolls with it, I mean, like, I'm going to roll with this jackass.
It's probably a good match for him. I agree.
Right, but he hasn't found one yet.
Yeah, so I'm like, so what's that
keeps
saying
going
about
on
the
these
game?
first dates.
He might. Who knows what he does on second, third dates? I mean, he might show up with a baby carrier. I don't know. Like, you got to see where you go from there. It's fun and it's funny. And we did an episode a couple years ago, and it was, I think we called it the 23 questions that matter. They were not this serious questions, but they were designed to be playful. So he's playful and hopeful, and you're there. And I'd like to see this whole list of questions. If those are the list of questions, where would you like? Where should we buy our second house?
I kind of like that one because I'd be like, oh, okay, so we're ambitious. Like we're gonna
not
have
our first
this,
house, our second house.
Yeah, like I would be like, good. So we're talking about like having this like big cool life.
Yeah.
I feel like that or the honeymoon. I would think is funny.
Just
or
painting
like,
a picture.
Yeah, because I'd be like, oh, if you say you want a honeymoon like Colorado, we're not meant to be because I want to be in like Bora Bora. So at least we know.
Right.
But I think those are funny. I think like the kid, I'd be like, oh, I don't even know you, so I don't know about that. But
oh my God, so much forensic files. Do you see? And you're not alone. Most women, I think, are like that now, but you wouldn't have been like that 20 years ago. You'd have been like, oh my God, this guy is thinking marriage.
Mm-hmm. But 20 years ago, I would have been probably the victim of a serial killer. So
there's not this long history of guys in the 90s killing people. It didn't happen, nor now. It's still a statistical outlier.
It's a couple of bad apples, man.
Ruined it.
Ruined it for everyone.
And Ted Bundy was a romantic first or second dater.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I need you watch Forensic Files. There's another sidebar here because I have some questions. Are you following the Scott Peterson thing?
Yeah, I just heard that he's supposedly getting charged with another one.
No, I think he might get a new trial on the old one
and get out.
Well, I thought there was no doubt he did it. Whatever. The one who is leading the charge for his release is his wife's sister. And she's devoted her whole life to freeing him. I think she's in love with him.
I agree.
I think so, too. And I just read
it's creepy. I saw an interview with her, and she's like, he would never do this. I'm like, I think he might.
Like, sweetie, she was like, Dad, like, what? What do you mean she would no. I think that's creepy. I think she's
designed an alibi for him. She has this whole backstory, and I feel like so I want to know more. Like, were you always jealous of her? You were always in love with Scott. Have you followed this a little bit?
I have not, but I pretty much feel like I'm caught up now, and it's really not.
That's pretty much it. I didn't know. I saw on the Today Show, and I'm like, she's clearly in love with her. I think it's
like
sisters.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah,
like she's like falling in love with the person that hurt her. Like,
right. Both Menendez brothers are married.
Yeah, which that whole story is like really unfolding kind of crazy too.
Not to make you feel better about that. I don't know if that's hopeful for you Great Love listeners or not, but like they found love.
But they only killed their parents.
Right, and they were probably bad parents.
I was going to say what's coming out about them. I mean, they might get out. I think it matters
who you killed and why.
I agree. I think if it's like a little isolated where it's like, I wasn't related to you, you wouldn't have done it to me.
Right.
That's different than like someone like Ted Bundy.
The Scarsdale, that's from our neck of the woods. Yeah. What happened there? The Scarsdale diet
doctor.
It was a rage. It was a passion killing. Like he cheated on her, and she did like
blacked out and stabbed him, shot him,
and then she did like 7 years, and then went back to a normal society life. Yeah. It seemed reasonable to the jury.
Yeah, just like a little mental break and fine.
Right. She had a moment of passion killing. But yeah, that's true. So not to put all this dark energy into your sweet date, Lee, in Chicago. It's risky. She might be texting her friends like, this guy's a fucking psycho. Mm-hmm. I think like anything, nothing's going to work 100% of the time. Nothing's not this. If you're looking for a type of girl who likes your type of humor, go with it. 100%. I would have a backup plan.
I want to know what the gay version of that is. Is like on your first date, are you a top or a bottom? I mean,
well,
which is like a fair question.
But I think that gets asked anyway.
Do you ask? So I know, but is it a negotiable kind of top be talked into being a bottom?
Now I'm old and I've been married for 24 years.
Right.
But that's not something in the past when I was dating that we asked.
How did you negotiate that?
So you just sort of
you find out when you're whatever you're doing.
Right,
and if you're not compatible, you're not compatible.
Deal breaker?
I'm sure you can find something.
But there's got to be that awkward
while you're finding out.
I know, but there's got to be this awkward moment. It's like, wait, we're both bottoms.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem, I guess.
Then is it a conversation,
then
or
we
is
have
it just
to find a third?
Is that the way it works?
For some people, I think it does.
But can people be talked into, like, you should really try this? If you were bottom with me, you would like it. Is that the way it worked?
I think, people are now identifying as versatile.
Versatile. Oh, okay. I think that doubles your dating pool.
I think so too.
Well, there you go.
Bisexual, versatile is even better.
We haven't done
basically screw anything.
We haven't done a gay great love debate in a while, but I have some questions, so we're going to do that soon too. Versatile in any situation is probably good. Yeah, right. A lot of you people who are writing in here are very limited. Your music and your cooking, you need to be versatile.
I think a lot of straight men would like to talk their girlfriends into being more versatile.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Sure.
I agree. Versatility is an asset. Versatility, imagination, and getting out of your comfort zone, all you tops out there.
And just breathe.
Just breathe. It'll be over in a second. Check, please. All right, last one here. This is from Michelle via our Facebook page. I was on your website and watched that brief highlight video, which we have on our website, from your tour, and it looks very funny. And one of the women in the clip says that going to a psychic is a great first date, and I totally agree. Or a palm reader. There is mystery, there is suspension of belief, there is faith, there is the unknown, there is nervous excitement. I love it. Do you know anybody who's done that, and how is it for an icebreaker? I do know somebody who's done it because I do know the girl in the clip, and she has done it. I love it. You are taking the gamble that the palm reader is going to read something very dark in your immediate future. You are really risking your dating fate on the palm reader, and I think some palm readers probably read darker than others. Right?
I agree.
So I think you have to find somebody who understands what you're doing here and have fun with it. It's like, oh, I see a great night ahead of you on this line. I think it's a very, very good, fun idea.
I do too. I think it's fun. I think it's different. And I feel like the way you take your reading says a lot about you. Like some people really take it literal and some people are like, oh, this is like a sham kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it'll show you kind of how that person is. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't go full Ouija board.
Yeah, honestly. No, let's save the Ouija board till at least a third date, I feel. But I love that. I think that's so fun, super different.
Are you a horoscope, astrological person?
Actually, yeah, kinda. I mean,
do you care what they are?
We just had an astrologer on our podcast, actually, and she completely, honestly,
she blew her mind.
Yep,
There's a lot. Was it a Vedic one?
Yes.
Yeah, they know.
So, and it was weird. Like she laid out
pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah, she knew too much.
Yeah, like we kind of were like, oh, interesting. And dates are definitely starting to line up from what she said, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I would like that as a date.
Are you aware? May I ask what sign you are?
So I was an Aries up until 3 months ago when she did my reading, and apparently I'm a Pisces.
What does that mean? Isn't it a firm calendar? Didn't we vote on this?
No, apparently it switches because it's not by like dates, it's by actual like days with the moon cycle.
Oh.
So your sun sign is your willy-nilly astrology like we know. So I'm a Cancer Leo because of my sun sign. But in Vedic astrology, it's so much more than that.
All right, I got to bring a Vedic astrologer back on here. I as I've mentioned on this show many, many times, I am a Scorpio, and there's Scorpio discrimination. And a lot of women will just, no, not doing it. Like, not going there. Really? Scorpio and Gemini are the two that some people who are into this, that's like.
My brother's a Gemini.
Yeah, they're no, I'm not going there.
That people have a rap of being toxic.
Yes.
And I said that, and the astrologer was like, no. And I was like, I might still stand by my decision.
Right. It's a real thing.
It's like just the energy, but I think what are they, water signs? I don't really know that deep on them. But like, they're just known, like Scorpion.
It's like, we're going to have one good night and then you're going to sting me.
Yeah, and then you're going to like lose it. And like Gemini, same thing. I'm pretty sure I read that a lot of serial killers are Geminis.
Yeah.
Not that's shocking.
I'm sure they had that on Forensic Files.
100%.
But they, I agree. That's the direction that this could go. I mean, it seems fun and a little bit of a, no offense, palm readers, carnival thing, which is always sort of light and thing. But there's a dark side to, so I would be a little bit cautious about what you do with it. But I think good idea. I think that's a good date idea.
I think it's a great idea because, you go there and someone else is saying it's not like that. The very personal questions. What should we name our kid?
Yeah,
you go there and very personal things could come up, but it's not coming from one side or the other. So it's something that after it's over, you can bond over and talk about and dissect and have an experience that you can then.
Yeah, you can
build on.
Exactly, it's a good conversation like that, and then go to like
it should be
dinner.
Why did she say that about you?